Yo, what's good? I'm back. I think I'm just gonna do this review standing up if I'm being honest with you guys. But yesterday, I had a double feature. One of a really good double feature. I'm not gonna lie, because it was literally the same auditorium and the same seat, literally back to back. So it that's like the truest form of a double feature. I don't know what to say, but yesterday I saw Freakier Friday and Weapons. Now this review is for Weapons, and I will drop this review today, and then tomorrow I'll drop my review for Freakier Friday. So word. But Weapons, directed by Zach Krager. He is the same guy that did Barbarian. And I actually got to see Barbarian in theaters back in 2022 with my mom, and I really enjoyed Barbarian. I thought it was fantastic. So coming into this, I knew it was going to be some shit. 1 second. Sorry about that. I'm back. Oh, also, I got a haircut. Word. That's why if you're thinking, oh, he looks, nicer than usual, it's because I got to shape up. But that's besides the point. Going into this, I was very excited. The hype was real. It was like long legs type of hype. You feel what I'm saying? But I didn't want to hype it up too much because I knew it was going to get glazed, just like long legs did. And I didn't really like long legs all that much at all, really. So going into this, I was excited because I knew what this director can provide. Because Barbarian, it was split into like 3 chapters. Barbarian, parts. I would say 3 parts. Part 1, 2, and 3. My bad. I'm sorry for that abrupt cut. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was split into 3 parts. The first part was with the main girl. I forgot her name. And the main girl and Bill Skarsgård. And then part 2 was with Justin Long, who is also in this movie. He makes a surprise cameo. And from what I've heard, this movie, Weapons and Barbarian, take place in the same universe. So does that mean that that's Justin Long's character from Barbarian and this movie? They're supposed to be the same person? Because if so, then I don't know. Maybe I'm seeing it again today, so because I don't remember if they said his name or not, and I'm gonna search up what his character name was in Barbarian. But if it is the same guy, then that's crazy because he has a whole wife and kids, and as you know, if you see him Barbarian, he fucking dies, and he gets before that he gets accused of like sexually assaulting one of his co-stars. You feel what I'm saying? So word. But he does have a cameo in this, and he was I was shocked. I was like, holy shit, he's in this, because I think his performance in Barbarian is one of my favorites, as well as obviously Jeepers Creepers. But in like recent memory, Barbarian is my favorite performance by Justin Long. He was incredible in that movie. And so going into this, there's been a lot of hype coming into it. Lots of people have been glazing it, saying it's better than Sinners, which I'm just gonna say this right now, it's not better than Sinners. You guys need to calm down. Like Sinners was, it's not better than Sinners. All right, but overall, I feel like this movie was solid. It was solid. I had a good time. Do I think it's better than Barbarian? No. I still think Barbarian is better, but this was better than Longlegs and way better than The Monkeys. So there's that. Now, this movie is split up into 6 chapters instead of 3 parts, as in Barbarian. And Zach Krager's I really like the way he structures his films, because it's like we're thrown into different POVs, and then something crazy happens, and we're like, what the fuck is going on? And then he automatically cuts to a different there we go. He automatically cuts to a different perspective, and we're just gonna have to, it's like putting pieces of a puzzle together. As the movie goes on, we're piecing it together piece by piece as it gets more crazy and bonkers, like in Barbarian. Is the twist better than Barbarian? No. Essentially, a bunch of kids from this elementary school class, they all leave their house at 2:17 and they disappear. And throughout the whole movie, it's just the characters trying to figure out where the kids are and what the hell is going on. So, but there is one student that is still there, and his name is Alex, and we follow him at the end of the movie. His chapter is at the end. So let's chapter one, Justine, played by Julia Garner, who was in the Royal Hotel, which I saw in theaters. She was in Fantastic Four. She was in Wolfman. All movies that I saw in theaters. So she's been having a pretty successful year so far. She plays a teacher, the teacher of the class that goes missing, and she's like, I enjoyed her character. I just I feel like people going into this movie expect her to just be the lead, but that's not the case. She's only chapter one, and then from that point on, we only see her in glimpses of other people's chapters until the very end when we get to Alex's chapter. But her chapter was fine. She's essentially grieving. She's kind of a flawed character. She I don't know, I guess she's just trying to cope. Um she's pretty funny, but she's like not your typical protagonist. You know, she has flaws. She sleeps with this guy named Paul who has a girlfriend, and we do get Paul's POV as well. We'll get to him. She is being harassed by other parents, and she's low-key, like, there was points in this movie where she, like, kind of loses me a little bit in terms of, like, is this lady serious? Because she wants to talk to Alex since they're the only two left. The principal, Marcus, he says no, let's give him some space. You feel what I'm saying? She decides to follow Alex home, and just, I don't know, she just does a lot of questionable things throughout this movie that, from an outsider's perspective, looks a little weird. And overall, I don't know, her character, she was, am I the only one that got, like, weird vibes from her character in terms of, like she, I don't know, her character was just a little weird. But it's fine. It's fine. Her chapter ends with her sleeping outside Alex's house, trying to figure out what the hell is going on, and then Alex's mom comes out of the house and clips some of her hair off, and that's how her chapter ends. And then we get into chapter two with Archer, who is a parent played by, why is his name blanking on me? Played by the one who played Thanos, or the one from, the Goonies. He also played a villain in Deadpool 2. I don't know why his name is blanking on me. Damn it. I don't want to, hold on. I got it. It's Josh Brolin. Thanos, essentially. He's one of the parents. His POV was probably my least favorite POV. I'm not going to lie. He just does a whole lot of investigating. I mean, he does progress the plot. But his chapter was the weakest, in my opinion. He has this, like, and also all the characters have this weird dream sequence, or this weird, like, moment where they see the main antagonist, like the one doing all this, which I'm just gonna say it. Her name is Gladys. She has red hair, and she's Alex's aunt. Let me just say this right now. If you're expecting a big payoff, you're really not going to get it in terms of, like, why she's doing what she's doing. Gladys, we just know that she's sick. She's sick, and she can, well, I'll get to it, but she's sick. That's all we get from, like, Gladys. We don't get, like, what the benefit of doing all this is for. Like, what does she gain out of this? We just know that she's sick, and she's using Alex. But yeah, Josh Brolin's character Archer, he has this weird dream sequence where at one point there's like I think an AK hovering over his house, and there aren't that many jump scares, but the jump scares that they do have are like meh. They're like, it's nothing too crazy, if I'm being honest. And yeah, let me try to angle this better. I want to have like a good. I feel like I've been, you know, weird. Um, yeah, his story. He eventually crosses paths with Justine, and then she gets attacked by Marcus, who looks like he's possessed at a gas station, and that's how his chapter ends. Word. Uh, and then we move on to chapter 3, Paul. Now, Paul is a cop. I'm sorry, I keep getting interrupted. Paul, his chapter is probably my personal favorite. He's an asshole. Paul is an asshole. He's a cop. He's like the one of the worst versions of a cop you can ever encounter. At first, like when he's with Justine, he seems fine, but well, obviously not because he's cheating on his girlfriend. But who is, by the way, the police chief's daughter, apparently. So after he cheats with Justine, he runs into this other character. I'm pretty sure his name was Jimmy, played by the guy who was in Euphoria and a bunch of other things. But he encounters Jimmy, who's this like crackhead drug addict that just wants money and is not a good person at all. But him and Jimmy are probably my favorite characters in the movie just because of how just wonky they are. By the way, I will say this movie is one hell of a ride. Like, it's a hell of a journey. Just like Barbarian, it is a ride. It's a fun ride. But it does drag a little bit. For me personally, it dragged a little bit, like towards the end. Like towards the last 2 chapters, it was like, all right, let's wrap this up. It is 2 hours and 8 minutes, so brace yourselves for like that. But it does keep you engaged. It's just like once we got to like the final chapter, I'm like, all right, let's come on. But yeah, Paul arrests Jimmy, and then he's like, all right, Jimmy, do you have anything that could poke me, stick me with anything? Jimmy's like, nah, man. He was lying. He ends up getting poked, and this nigga Paul decides to just straight up sock Jimmy in the face. And then he notices his like dash cam is on, so he unplugs his dash cam and is like, "Yo, Jimmy, all right, we both screwed each other over. Let's just forget about this." And he dips. True, I don't know. It was hilarious. I'm Jesus Christ. Wait, let me lock in with the camera angle. Right. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. Paul is an asshole essentially, but he's probably my favorite character. I'm not gonna lie. And at the end of his chapter, well, he's not on good side, on the Chiefs' good side. And he sees Jimmy coming back to the police station, so he chases him down. And then we cut to Jimmy, who is just trying to get money. He ends up breaking into Alex's house, where he finds his parents. And since his parents are like just there, like they're like puppets essentially at this point. He just robs their house and then leaves. And then but he also finds the kids. And the only reason he goes to the police station is for the money. He doesn't really give a shit about the kids. So he goes, that's why he went to the police station, and that's how he ends up getting chased by Paul. Paul captures him. And they go to the house. Paul goes inside, comes out, controlled, and takes Jimmy. And now they're both puppets, just like Alex's parents. And then we get to Marcus, who thankfully doesn't have a long chapter. He's the principal. They show how he gets possessed. Essentially, Gladys. That's where we get introduced to Gladys. Gladys goes to Marcus's house, Marcus and his husband, and turns Marcus into her puppet. So essentially she cuts herself on this branch and then wraps somebody's hair on it, like the target, and then she snaps it, and then the person that she's controlling will go after the target. So Marcus kills his husband. Well, she makes Marcus kill his husband, and then she sends him after Justine, which is where we pick up at the end of Archer's chapter with him attacking them. Marcus ends up getting hit by a car and dies, and then Archer and Justine put it together that it's Alex's house, that the kids are where they're at. That's where they're at. And then we get to Alex's chapter. We see his parents normal, and then Gladys comes. She possesses his parents, makes it very clear that she can do whatever she wants with them. Like, once they're under her spell, she can make them do anything, including hurt themselves, which is where we get to see them stab their faces with fucking forks. And then Alex, this poor kid, man, he's just forced to go along with this. He feeds his parents the kids, and he just has to go to school and pretend that, you know, nothing's wrong, nothing's happened. Eventually, Justine and Archer get to the house. They go inside, they get attacked by Paul and Jimmy. They end up killing them. And Alex gets attacked by his parents, but uses the quick thinking, gets the branch, snaps it, and then all the kids that were in the basement goes after Gladys, chases her throughout the whole neighborhood until they finally get up to her and they rip her apart. They literally rip her apart. And that's how it ends. Alex gets his parents back. Well, no, not really. His parents are cooked, and so are some of the kids. And this is the movie's at the beginning. It's like a little bit of a kid telling a story. So there's this. I'm pretty sure it's a girl. This little girl narrating. You know, you probably heard it in the trailer. Like, I'm trying to think of what's the line. I don't know. I'm not even gonna try to replicate it. But in the beginning of the movie, we hear her little dialogue about what's going on. And then at the end of the movie, we hear her say that some of the kids were able to talk eventually, but some of them were cooked. So Archer gets his son. Justine survives. Paul and Jimmy are dead. Marcus is obviously dead. Gladys gets ripped to shreds. And Alex doesn't have any parents anymore. He ends up going with a different aunt, who apparently is much nicer. Word. And that's it, man. That's Weapons. We don't get any resolution as to why Gladys decides to kidnap all of Alex's classmates. We don't get no explanation as to why. We just know that she's sick. So that's a little disappointing, but you know, it is what it is. I mean, it was satisfying to see her get ripped to shreds, but I just wish we would have gotten the why. But maybe the point is to not know the why. I don't know. But overall, this movie was a lot. There was a lot that I left out. But you gotta see it, man. That's all I gotta say. But I still think overall it was solid. It's not better than Sinners. You guys gotta get a grip, really. And in my opinion, it's not better than Barbarian. But it was leagues better than Long Legs and The Monkey. And I feel like, was it worth the wait? Was it worth the hype? A little bit. But don't listen to the people online that's like glazing the hell out of this movie, saying it's like the best movie in the past like 10 years. Like, that's you know for a fact that it's a little. Once we get to like September, October, that's when we'll really know how people feel about this movie. Because as of right now, since it's just coming out, people are gonna glaze it. That's just how it is. I'm not trying to be a hater. I like this movie. I'm just saying, don't have your expectations so high to the point where you come out disappointed. You know what I'm saying? Because I almost did that. Thankfully, I kept my expectations like here, and I ended up having a good time. But I don't want people to go into this like thinking it's going to be the greatest thing ever, like Sinners quality, to come out not enjoying it. Also, there's a lot of comedy in this movie, as you know, you could probably guess, you know, with fucking Paul, you know, and his body cam and punching Jimmy in the face. There's a lot of dark humor in this movie, a lot of comedy, a lot of dark humor. It was fun. So, and there aren't that many jump scares. I'm pretty sure I said that already. But yeah, that's it. Is that it? Is that all I want to talk about? yeah, I think that's about it. This movie was a lot. I'm seeing it again today to get my concrete opinions on it. But overall, it was cool. It was a fun time. Word. That's it, man. This has been my review for Weapons. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed. I'm the Hero Light Legend, Tari Figueroa, signing out. Peace.